Welcome back to the Minnesota Motor Company. It's our Super Sports Saturday and Christmas weekend. Merry Christmas, Coach Uvis.
Merry Christmas, Krieger.
Thanks for coming out this morning. Talk a little otter swimming and diving.
Nothing better.
And the Otters were at Sartell. You're kind of a light week competition-wise, and you're kind of into training mode right now, aren't you? Because you've got a good stretch of training ahead.
We're on a winter trip, Krieger. We're instead of going to Florida, we're just going to go to the Kennedy Secondary Pool and enjoy ourselves. And we really enjoy this time. This is a great time for us. We'll practice today. We'll practice Christmas Eve. We'll practice New Year's Eve. I mean, we look at this as a camp time for us, and we desperately need it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, swimming is one of those sports where you really do need the training time, and you like to have a little break from meets, actually.
Well, you need the time to really work on details that are going to make them a better swimmer, because you just can't get done by doing push-ups and doing sit-ups and stuff like that. It's a lot of fluid mechanics, and we don't have pools at our home, so we have to really use what we have, and we're very blessed to have such a nice facility. And again, I want to thank the school district and Dan Ross particularly for a great job on the water chemistry, because it makes a huge difference for us, and it's very needed.
Overall, do you feel like this team is a team that really trains well? Are they a group of kids that like to train, push themselves?
They train well if the direction's there. I mean, they'll never say no to me, but we have to make sure, Brad Childs and myself, we have to be very sure how clear our directions are, and really how well we set the sets. It's good for us. It's gotten us back to really coaching the basics, kind of Vince Lombardi showing them football, and that's what we're trying to do. And we're learning as much as the boys are, and it's been a fun season. It's a very nice group of young men. The 7th and 8th graders are improving immensely, and the 9th through 12th. When we go to Sartell, what we did in that whole meet was match up races. I mean, we told the parents that, because they travel on the bus with us, a lot of parents do, and to defer some of the expenses of the bus ride. And it was really fun. I told them exactly. I said, we got Cal swimming against a 51 freestyler in the 100. This is going to be a great race. And it was. And Cal does a 50.8, and the Sartell boy does a 51.2 or something like that. And those are fun races, and that's how we designed the whole meet, was to have matchups of kids. The only person really didn't have a very close racing situation was Joe Kismet. It's just that he's just so solid in the fly in the back. So, but everyone else had some really spectacular races and learned a lot.
Well, yeah, and Joe was a double winner in those events, and Cal won the 200 IM along with the 100 freestyle. Yeah. So they were your first place finishers. But Sartell had a little more depth on their roster, and they wound up winning the duel.
We have 70 swimmers in the program right now, and hats off to them. It's a growing district, and they're doing very well, and they're deep. They did bring the 7th and 8th graders into this meet, which is really nice, and their coach is Jason, and does a great job coaching them, and has the same philosophy as we all do, where he sees the big picture, and he also kind of matched up some of his kids against ours, because the whole purpose of the meet is for us all to become better.
I was just looking through the results a little more, and Daniel Kowalski had a couple of nice swims for you with the second place finish in a couple of in an individual event, and also as a part of a couple of relay teams. He's making some good progress.
Yes, you have really enjoyed the 100 breaststroke. He was racing against a very fast breaststroker, and it was fun to watch him. He's chasing a rabbit. He gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then the turn will come up. And he has some pretty good turns. That's an area that everyone has to work on, is the exchange of going forward and changing direction and going the opposite direction. The turns are a maturity thing with lots of practice, but he had a fantastic meet, as many others.
Your relay teams, Tom, where are you sitting there as far as the makeup of those teams? Are you settling into a lineup, or is this something that's going to be changing? When you don't have as much depth, maybe it becomes a solid unit faster. I don't know.
Well, we really had some fun in the relays. What we did a little bit different in the medley relay, you probably saw it, is that we started with Joe Kisman and Cal, and we wanted to get the lead, and we did. And then we put Mike Mortensen in there, not Clay Danielson, and we did that intentionally because we wanted to have Clay rested for the 20-yard freestyle, and then we ended up with Daniel. And so really, Mike and Daniel had to really pop it up, and they did a great job. Now, to show you how good Sartell is, they have 2 medley relays under 150, which is pretty unbelievable. They have 2 200 freestyle relays under 130. I don't have the times for it, but
138.
Yeah, 138 and about 140, I think, but really low relays. And their 200 freestyle relays won 2 Wilmer when they swam them in a dual meet the week before. So we just wanted to split the relays as best we could, and we performed really well. So a little bit of contrast to the question on relays. We're moving them around a lot, and we want to see how Mike could do on the fly and how Daniel could do in the free, and they both did very well.
It's interesting. You've been at both ends of the coaching spectrum there, where you've had 2 relay teams that are really deep, and you have 8 guys that are interchangeable, and then you're in a situation where you're just really trying to find the top 4 right now. And that's,
well, we want to put Clay in the 200 freestyle and really be fresh, and he dropped time and had a really good race against their swimmer. And Connor Hatfield, same thing. We want to put him in I think Connor dropped I want to say 7 seconds in that one race. And Connor's had a great month, period. I mean, he is an athlete. I mean, he's a soccer player, and, you know, athletes transfer over pretty well in programs like this, and his work ethic is gone. Luke Rates is doing great. He's an 9th grader who's also an athlete from basketball and playing baseball. He loves baseball and has done just, I mean, in practice it's fun to watch Luke because he's intense. He has a purpose. And, again, the beauty of a sport like this is that you're in total control of your destiny. And I think probably more than track because we don't have the weather conditions. I mean, we have, the pool is so, when we go to Sartell, we don't have to worry about a 20-mile wind. We don't have to worry about somebody may cut me off on a race. I mean, it's just pure. You're in the water, you go, and it's electronic timing.
Connor Hatfield, you mentioned him, 3rd place in the 100 back and a 5th place finish for you in the 200 freestyle. Boy, that's only going to get better, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's against a very, very good team, which is incredible. But like the CLC is kind of interesting in swimming. If you're a swim enthusiast, this is really going to be a fun swim season for us because we have St. Cloud Tech, who's really strong. And St. Cloud Tech and Sartell, it'd be fun to watch that dual meet because that can be a close dual meet. We have Brandon, who's always tough and depth-wise, too. So there's going to be some really nice contests between those 3.
Talk about your diving a little bit. This has been, I know, kind of a headline for the Otters this season. You went 1, 2, 3 again with Michael Osnes and Reed Magnuson and Mike Pistolka, and a lot of teams in the section or the conference are going to find that happening to them, I think, in diving.
Well, it's really nice when they walk in the pool there. You know, they're warming up for diving, and I know that the other diving coaches, of course, are coming up now to Coach Hartwell. And we've always had great relationships, and really very happy for him because, you know, he's worked his area. Sartell has had phenomenal divers. I mean, the history of their diving program is unbelievable, and she's taking kids to All-State a lot. And so they're young. She has a couple of young divers, and they're developing. And but, you know, again, back to Michael particularly, and he made a comment when he was out here because I was listening to the interview where he said, you know, he had to really develop in the weight room to do the dives. So he did a dive, which is really fun to watch, and I couldn't tell you what the dive is, but all I know is he's going up in the air, and he stops for about 0.2 of a second, makes a rotation, and then he stops another 0.2 of a second, and then he comes in the water just clean. And as he said before, you cannot do that unless you have that core strength, and he has that. So he's put a lot of time and effort, what we call stealth training, and hats off to him. And we tell kids, you know, you may not think you'll be rewarded by, you know, playing the piano an extra couple hours or whatever it is, but you will be rewarded. It will come out, and here's a good example.
And I thought one of the things that was fun to talk about with Michael and with Coach Hartwell was the fact that diving is now becoming a part of the meet where in the old days maybe you'd go get something to eat at the concession stand. You're not doing that during diving right now. You don't want to miss these guys.
Well, I think we've been really fortunate probably the last 10 years of really having pretty consistent diving. And I mean, you know, Rachel Appert was fantastic, and she was so much fun to watch this year. And then, of course, you know, the history of our diving program with Inga Nelson. So it's, you know, I will say this, and I think the divers know this too. We have always considered this a swimming and diving program. We have never said at any time that diving is a minor part of our program. We look at each part of it as when the individual succeeds, and And again, we're very blessed to have Coach Hartwell. He does a great job. He knows diving, and now, of course, the fruits of his labor are coming apparent.
I know there's been some discussion among coaches over the years that it should be a separate sport, you know.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about that.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest with you. I mean, in some ways, if you look at the scoring right now, it would be nice. But in the case of the diving team, too, they're undefeated.
Right.
So generally speaking, you know, diving team's undefeated, and the swim team right now is, I don't know, we were at one or two wins or whatever it is. But I mean, so they've done really well. So it goes both ways. But again, I think the team part of it's really important, and we're really encouraging our swimmers to, you know, continue to support the divers as well as the divers supporting the swimmers. And Michael Osnes has done a great job on the deck. I mean, his enthusiasm on the deck has been really neat to see. And he may not be called a captain, but man, I got to tell you what, he's right on the deck and leading like a captain.
Tom, the layoff now that you have, again, we talked about the training, but I want to mention that you always get alumni swimmers back at this time of the year to swim with you in some of your practices. So have you had that happening here?
We have. We had Eric Money and Jake Fisher come in and train with us, and Eric's doing great. You know, often Jake is at UND, and Mike Hurley comes in Monday, and he's going to swim early in the morning with us, and actually with me. We had Nathan Job come in yesterday just to talk to the boys, and he's not swimming anymore, but he was the captain of the Gophers swim team last year and has done really well from a professional point of view, as I shared with you. And I think we tell the boys, and Nathan said something really neat. Nathan said, you know, when I started swimming, my time was a 35.0 in the 50 He said, I was right there with you. Now he got down to a 20.1 or something like that.
Wow.
So anyway, and he almost made Olympic trials. So the point is that you never know where you can go with this sport, with any sport.
Well, and that's a part of the challenge as a coach, too, to get the most out of those guys and train them to succeed. So you have a layoff until January 3rd when you'll have St. Cloud Apollo coming into your home pool. So wish you the best for training here. And
that's going to be a great meet. We're looking forward to it already.
Yeah. All right.
Should be fun.
Anything else you want to mention from the cartel meet?
I think we're good. I think we got most of the ones I just went on. You know, we don't talk about Jacob Uckstead is really stepping up. Jacob is a fun person to watch swim. I mean, if you come, you know, that Thursday meet, he has a very unique turn. Somehow he gets off that, and actually he swims better without goggles.
Really?
So, yeah, he is for what sometimes the goggles go around his neck, but man, he can really move. But he's had some really nice drops and very nice consistency, and it's been great in the relays for us.
All right, Coach. Thanks for coming in. Merry Christmas to the Uvis family.
Merry Christmas to your family, and thank you for all you do.
Appreciate it, Tom Uvis, head coach of the Otter Swimming and Diving Team, our guest on the Super Sports Saturday from the Minnesota Motor Company.